Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for that warm welcome. My name is John Southwell. I'm the Senior Trade and Investment Commissioner for the Australian Trade and Investment Commission. And while I haven't travelled too far here today, I've actually travelled from Bandra, where I live at the moment. I work out at the Australian Consulate here in Mumbai and have been living here in this wonderful city for the last 2.5 years. So it's an absolute privilege to be here speaking with you today. My pitch to you is Australia's contribution to India's retail landscape, as well as why you should consider Australia in your dealings. So I'd like to probably say that the Australia-India relationship is at a high, and it's driven by three major factors. Number one, we have a strategic convergence between our countries from a geostrategic perspective. We have growing economic opportunity and people-to-people links that are incredibly strong. We have about 1 million people in Australia that has Indian heritage, which is a very big number for us because we only have about 29 million people in our country. I know it's not a very big number here, but it is something which is very, very important for us as well. Something which is also very important for us is this thing here. Now, our relationship is not just about cricket, as you know, but it is actually a very big part of it as well. And it's probably worth noting that between us, between Australia and India, we actually have all of the major world cricket trophies between us, which just shows both our fierce rivalry on the cricket pitch, but also how much we are together across the globe in the global sporting arena. You asked the question, why Australia? Why now? Why us? And also why here as well? And you can also see that across here, sort of a number of our economic fundamentals, our global ties, 29% of Australians are born overseas. We have trade agreements with a number of countries, including with India, and 75% of our trade is with the Asian region, including, and also we benefit greatly from our ability to provide education services to people across the world, including here in India, with about 600,000 people having benefited from an Australian education over the last little while. But also, within this is the Australia-India Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, which was entered into force in December 2022, which means that a number of goods exports from Australia to India are now either tariff-free or heading down towards a zero tariff down the track. And that also includes not just tariff-free coming into India, but also tariff-free going back into Australia as well. So Indian retail packs of FMB and many other things, jewellery, also garments, etc., going into Australia at zero tariff rate. So it is genuinely a two-by-two arrangement. And we're also negotiating at the moment for an ambitious, comprehensive economic cooperation agreement as well. The ECTA has also changed the game, as I've mentioned, and across a number of different tariff lines. As you can see here, sheep meat from 30% down to 0%. Avocados at 12.9%, heading down to 0% by 2028. Macadamias at 12.9%, heading down to 0% by 2028. For almonds, the tariff is halved within a certain within a certain quota. For cotton, that is down at a zero tariff rate for a certain quota. Australia's premium cotton that adds an additional input into the Indian textile and garment manufacturing. Australian wool down to 0%. And Australian oranges and many other things as well at substantially reduced rates to actually meet both consumer demand plus also inputs into food processing as well. It's been made great strides over the last little while, and we can see that a number of Australian products have actually featured within Indian retail sectors, and of course a number of efforts which we've been undertaking, including the Australian Macadamia Festival, Brett Lee signing on as being our Australian Avocados ambassador, as well as a number of other functions, etc., to enable greater take-up of Australian produce. But it's not just about us. And here are a number of the potential products which could potentially find a home here, as well as where we can actually add inputs as well into Indian food processing and manufacturing. So what we can literally say is grown in Australia, made in India, and exported to the world as well. And as you can see here, everything from honey to pasta to biscuits to both the inputs into making those is something which is going to be really, really important. And this is what it looks like here. Can I just get is there a microphone that I could take? As you can see here, there are a number of things which are actually exported from India to Australia, from Australia to India. As you can see here, there's a number of things which can actually be exported from Australia to India, which is actually finding its way in here. So Good is actually an Australian company which actually has a body here in India, which makes So Good, which is made from Australian oats. Big Sam's as well, bringing in lamb chops and actually packaging them here for then retail sale as well. And as you can see here, Australian almond kernels coming in, being packaged for consumers, as well as macadamias as well. And of course, there are a number of Australian other FMCG products. I'm sure that many people would have heard of these things before as well, but are now available on Indian shelves. So it's not just simply about exporting Australian products here for consumption, it's also exporting things to be able to feature in Indian food processing and manufacturing and export out to the world. It's not just about Australia exporting and forgetting about it, it's also about our contribution to the Indian food processing and manufacturing as well. Finally, the Australian Trade and Investment Commission, of which I represent here in India, particularly in Western India, we provide advice, connections and support to Australian exporters as well as driving inbound investment as well. And we engage quite heavily with a number of folk around both in this room, outside there, as well as in the import and export game as well. And wherever you can see that we might be able to provide inputs into your manufacturing, into your processing, as well as into your stores as well, we would be very, very happy to have a conversation with you and your teams as well over the next couple of days. So basically we call it advice, connections and support, and those very, very key categories as well. And of course, we'd be very keen to hear what things you need that can then both drive and further your business, because we consider that India's success is Australia's success as well.